And we're back. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Good, mate. Good. Thanks for asking. Nice of you to join us today. We
Oh,
missed you last night.
yeah, just life and whatever, can't do it sometimes. But I'm happy to be here. We're here talking Supercoach, talking AFL, mate, talking round. Can you believe it's round 16 already? Where has the year gone? Can remember,
Mate, I think
with
we're
the
around
Sunday
17
before I
this
put in
week.
my team. Like, now it's just like, mate, we've got 8 weeks left and the season's done.
Yeah, I know. It's going by so quickly. But the thing is, as quickly as it's going, it's actually heating up. It's not like it's this week in particular. We were talking about it. Hey, Causa, how's it going, mate? Thanks for coming on. We're talking like with Corey. This week's matches are actually going to be absolutely insane.
Yep.
A lot of teams vying for the 8s will be playing each other this week, and so it's going to be one heck of a week. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that was similar to last week as well. It really felt like there was a few teams who probably could have, had some really good captain scores. I know I ended up picking Dunkley, and that kind of didn't work out for VC, and then picking Bont captain, whereas half a dozen other players just dominated. So, as you say, I think this week is going to be a similar thing. There really does feel like there's a few teams that are just going to, you look off the list, right? Richmond, Sydney, what's going to happen? Western Bulldogs, Collingwood. I mean, I guess Dunkley versus West Coast is probably one of the easier ones, right? But then even having both of the Brisbane boys in my team like I have now, I'm like, do I pick Dunkley or do I pick Neil? Which one do I pick?
You pick the Lion King. When they're at the Gabba, you pick the Lion King. And the Lion King is Lucky Mother Fishing Neil. Okay? I should have listened to myself. I knew it. I knew it all along that Dunkley he's only embraced, he's only adopted the Gabba. He wasn't born in it, molded by it. Just quoting Bane here. Yeah. But mate, there were so many great captain scores, but no one had the captaincy on them. You had obviously Neil, you had Merritt, you had Dacos, you had Stewart. There was a bunch of great players that a lot of people just didn't have the C or VC on him.
Yeah, definitely. I think my captain was probably like one of my worst premiums at the moment. Let's quickly have a look at my team. Like Zeeble and Sheasel, yeah. But a 114 wasn't great. I think Taranto in the midfield. Well, Taranto and Brayshaw and Laird, I guess, were my 3 guys in the midfield that were lower. But I could have picked Neil, could have picked Zach Merritt. Mate, that Essendon game, Joe, could have picked Tom Stewart or Dacos or even like a Goulden or a Rosie, just all these players. Mate, I might have to pick Ben Keys the ways he's going.
Yeah. He's absolutely killing it. He only had 1 CBA on the weekend, though, so be careful. Could have gone Petrarca against the Giants. He went 128. So there are a bunch of scorers out there. Just none of the people that people were talking about and selecting. Obviously, Dunkley was a really popular one. Laird was a popular one. Dawson was a popular one. Bont was a popular one. So you look at all these popular options, and that's why we always like to say, back your gut. Back your gut. There's no need. You don't have to go with the pack, because if you nailed a Neil selection, or if you nailed a Merritt, you know what I mean? Or a Dacos, you would have put yourself up as a pod and would have jumped the ranks, I think, this week.
Mate, I was pretty close to 2,600. And if I had gotten one of those captaincy scores correct, I think I would have just tipped over the line, even with some crappier rookie scores. I mean, like a 2,600 is pretty good, right?
That's insane. Yeah, you beat me this week, you bastard. Theo, Dacos VC or Neil VC, not sure, asking for opinion from the professionals. Oh, thank you. Thinking Merritt captain. Merritt C against the Adelaide Crows. That's an interesting
I wouldn't do it. I think Neil's probably the best pick, depending on if they run the taggers or not. But as Joe says, Neil at the Gabba is just mental. If you had Petrarca or someone, you could probably pick them against St Kilda. Who else is there? Anyone against North Melbourne at the moment? Heck, you've got Rosie. If you could even go Rosie captain against Gold Coast, mate, they're going to tear them a new one this week.
Or Stewart against North at home.
Oh, yeah, Stewart versus North at home. Like, Essendon versus Adelaide, yeah, I think Zach Merritt's probably going to do well. But Adelaide's not a slouch team. Like, they might not let him run willy-nilly like other teams have over the weekend.
Yeah, he almost got us over the line against Port Adelaide. With his disposal in the wet, it was sensational. But yeah,
he's so
doing
good,
well.
He's
doing
so
well.
good,
bro. That tackle when he ran down Alir, who tried to fend him off. Oh, that is my captain, man. That is my captain. That is my
literally.
Yes, literally correct. Causa, I thought about a captain on Dan Houston last week and chickened out and went safe with Bontempelli.
Hey, well, yeah. And that's the interesting thing too, is I think Bontempelli's slowly becoming, he used to be like the easy, pick. Okay, I'll just go Bont captain. But it really feels like at the moment, something's happened with him and it's maybe not as safe as what we're feeling or what it's been in the past. What do you reckon, Joe?
I agree. There's no... I mean, Dunkley is probably one of the more safer options. I mean, Dunkley's still got 107, having been subbed out at three-quarter time. You know what I mean? Like, that's
he got scaled up like 15 points. It was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, and that's why people paid up so much for Rory Laird at the start of the year, because you were so sure that you were going to get real consistent captaincy scores out of him. But that just wasn't the case. A lot of people people were saying to me yesterday on the stream, they've only captained Laird twice. And it was round 1 and this week. And he's let them down both weeks. Even George is like, never again am I going to captain Rory Laird.
Yeah, it's a tough one. North Melbourne's really interesting, where I think we have the potential, maybe we get slaughtered in a game, but we've got the potential to nullify some players. And that obviously happened to Laird. He's the one at the moment that's really been struggling if there's like 2 or 3 players kind of in the mix. It's sad to see, right? Because Rory Laird is so darn good. But yeah, he's the one that struggled. I mean, I managed to pick up Ben Keys. Yes, he was more expensive than everyone else got him, but he's done well for me so far. And the people, like you say, who kind of had had Rory Laird as captain kind of faltered a little bit.
Mate, there's nothing worse than copying a shit captain score. Rory Laird 84. Like, seriously, it's as if you put the captaincy on Himmelberg, and you'd never think about doing that, because Himmelberg scored 84 as well.
Yeah.
So
the problem with Rory Laird, the problem with Rory Laird is he's unselfish, right? So his biggest issue is he's okay with not doing well in a game, like stats wise, if his team's dominating. He'll take the attention. He'll be the run-with player. Still do those odd passes here and there. But if his team's winning, okay, no worries. I think similar to like a Cripps and a Bont a little bit, how when their team's dominating, he'll just take it. And that's what Rory Laird does. So it's really tough.
Callum Mills is exactly the same way.
Yeah.
He's happy to sit out of the midfield mix, play behind the ball, at halfback, half forward, whatever his team needs of him, he'll do it. Those selfless people don't make great super coach players. You definitely want the selfish bastard pigs to get all of the stats 100%, to get all 100%. The super coach points.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, otherwise you suffer. Like people have happened today.
Yeah. Causa English against the Rucks. I mean, English is playing against the Pies this week, so that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, there's going to be a few really tough games, man. Who's your pick for this week, Joe? Do you think English has got the Pies, or the Pies are going to smash the Dogs?
That's look. I believe in what Collingwood have been doing. They've been a great team. They absolutely took Gold Coast to the cleaners, who they had no defensive mindset whatsoever, and they were torn to shreds. I think the Bulldogs are a lot tougher to beat, especially at Marvel Stadium, where Collingwood don't really play much there, so I can definitely see Collingwood getting tested, but I can't see them losing to the. I mean, because where do they
No.
lose? How do they lose? Like, their backline's so strong. I think Darcy Moore can line up on Aaron Norton, or Jeremy Howe can also fly for marks. The midfield is probably in Bulldogs' favour, though, I must say.
I think it's more a case of, okay, the only ways to Dogs to lose is if they lose to themselves, really. If they come into this and then, the guys don't play as well, they kind of underestimate the other players on the opposition team, which I don't think they're going to do. I think they're too strong now. I think maybe at the start of the season they'd let one go through, but not now. They're too good.
They're flying on all cylinders. And I would have said probably there'd be a midfield's caliber difference, especially in the contested ball department when you've got, for the Bulldogs, you've got a guy like Libba in under dishing the ball out to some other guns. Well, the Pies have now added Tom Mitchell, and he is an absolute gun at contested ball as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes head-to-head with Libba to compete and see who gets the most contested possession/clearances. So even in the midfield, Collingwood have evened it up. I do think that English will give... The English is a point of difference that Collingwood don't have. But other than that, I think they're just going to be too good.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, Darcy Cameron's in for a bit of a bath this week, which kind of sucks because I've got him in my team. But it is what it is. I do not like his 61. I've just seen that score now. I am not happy. Not as bad as Harvey Harrison, who somehow got subbed on field and did nothing and still got possession. So that's not a good week for him. I think he's really one of the guys that's tanked his break even at the moment.
Yeah, poor kid. Theo, how much do you think Gordon will go? Probs like him as the VC.
Yeah. Oh, his last couple of weeks of scoring had been bloody fantastic. And alongside Sheldrick, I don't know if they feed each other with the ball or what happens, but this kid's just been phenomenal. Last week, massive score. This week, not so much, but he's still pretty good, man.
He's playing the MCG twice.
Richmond against MCG. See, if Hopper wasn't in the team, I think it might have been a little bit different. But I think the likes of Taranto are going to try and bounce back. And Sydney might get nullified a little bit. I think if you've got a Lockie Neal in your team, or even a Dacos on a Friday night against the Dogs, I think they're a much safer pick than Goulden this week. That's kind of my thinking. I reckon he's probably good for a 110. And that's like pushing it this week. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what my feelings are telling me.
Yeah, your VC, I reckon your VC should be someone, because you get a free swing with your VC, right? Yes. I reckon if you can somehow go for someone that you think is going to go really massive, someone with not guaranteed to go massive, but someone that you think can go massive, someone with a high ceiling, I reckon Lockie Neal at home against the Eagles.
Yeah. It's too good to pass up, and you get a free ride. Like, the only way it's going to not work out for you is if it ends up being like a Dunkley situation from last night. Well, not last night, from Friday night, where, he gets subbed out. Like, that's the only way Lockie Neal is not scoring huge that week. So
you'd think so, right?
It's free, man.
And he could go massive. He could get 35 odd disposals.
Easily.
High disposal efficiency because they're the West Coast witches hats. So probably no pressure whatsoever. He might kick a couple of goals as well.
That's going to stop him. Like, and if he's not named, free ride. 100% free ride.
So I'd definitely be leaning towards Neal, especially at the Gabba. He is the Lion King. He will dominate. The captaincy will be an interesting one, I think, because you look at the captain, because if you're going VC on
I think that's why you probably go Dacos first against the Bulldogs, because he's just been on fire. I mean, this kid, they were talking about it on the radio today. Dacos is almost a shoe-in to win the Brownlow. So, like, he has just been on fire. I don't see anyone in that Dogs team even being able to run with him. I reckon he's a pretty safe vice captain, and then you go like a Lockie Neal captain. Or if you're really cheeky, you go Lockie Neal vice captain. But then who would you captain in the second half of the weekend, Joe? Maybe someone from Port Adelaide, maybe a Stewart, but then a Stewart, if the ball's never in Geelong's backline, what's Stewart going to do? Like Zach Merritt's probably your next pick.
Come on, the ball will get there. Your midfield is really good midfield. You've still got Goldie, who's a great ruckman.
The defense can't stop the twin towers of Hawkins and Cameron, who are probably going to play. So it's just going to be kick it in the defense, reset, kick it in the defense, reset.
Yeah, but you win your fair share of clearances. You will LDU, Simpkin, Wardlaw. You're gonna get You're gonna get the ball going your way a bit as well. It's not just gonna be one-way traffic demolition out of the midfield. I don't think.
Oh, I don't know. That's just what I'm feeling at the moment. I reckon it's gonna happen.
Even then, Stewart is capable of pushing up because it's a really narrow ground at GMHBA Stadium, and they love getting him to push up for an aggressive press. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys just try to bomb the ball out of defense, and then you end up with Stewart taking a bunch of intercept marks in the middle of the ground as well. So, look, I'm personally going to be going Neil into Stewart.
Hey, that just sounds like North Melbourne, doesn't it? Bomb the ball from the middle into the back line and just be like, yeah. It might as well get Aaron Hall back this week. Sorry, Corey. Might as well get Aaron Hall back so he can turn over the ball again. It's a rough one.
Causa. I really want to go Houston captain this week against Gold Coast Adelaide Oval.
Yep. 100%. It's a tough one, though. It's a tough one. He's one of the guys, and that's kind of where we're saying outside of Neil versus West Coast, it gets really sketchy. Like it does. It gets really sketchy. Houston could have the best game. Houston was bloody fantastic last week. Obviously, we kicked the sealer against you guys. But I could see him in a game that's not tight. It really feels like Houston doesn't do as well. Maybe that's just me, but games that aren't going to be competitive, that's what happens. And I think Gold Coast are slowly on the decline as it's been around this time, or, good on them for not allowing it to happen during the buys, because that's when it's really happened. A few weeks after, but this is the time when they start to teeter off. They desperately need Tuke Miller to come back. Yes, he could do well, but it's not a guaranteed like some other players are, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Houston has been he was sensational. He was even before he kicked that winning goal, which was absolutely ridiculous.
Man.
He was probably best on ground even before that last. He had 32 disposals, some ridiculous meters gained. He was sensational last week, and he took that mark and immediately he turned his back. He knew, I'm going for this. I got this, fellas. Don't you worry about it. And he just drilled it. So Houston's great. The question is he capable of backing it up? He's now had back-to-back weeks of 146 and 156, so he's on fire. For me, the question is, does he still have the mentality? When you kick a winning goal after the siren, 12 in a row, record beating for your club, you're up and about, you're on fire, you believe. Are you still switched on to back it up the next week? That's my thing.
I think Hinkley's got a made, Joe. I think Hinkley's flipped the switch in that team. As much as people wanted him gone at the start of the year, which was a huge story. It was a huge story. Every team, every person at that club, all the fans wanted him gone. I remember the Sack Hinkley posters, everything. 100%. They all wanted him gone. And now he's just doing really well. I don't see that being an issue. I think he's just going to be like, yep, this is another week. We're just going to pick ourselves up and reset. He could do it all over again.
Very well, yeah. They're doing it at home, and they love to play at home. So,
hey, never tear them apart, Joe. Watch out.
Yeah, but we almost did. Jono, g'day, mate. How's it going? It's 25-17 this week. Congrats. Oh, your Saints dodged a freaking missile. They missed a nuclear bomb. Your team so close. Neil
almost lost to Gold Coast, man. How does that happen?
West Coast, not Gold Coast.
Sorry, West Coast. Sorry, no, West Coast. Yeah, that's very true. How do you lose to West Coast? I don't understand.
Neil into track. I'm looking at, even though the Saints win against the D's. Look, it would be amazing. It would be amazing if your team somehow got over the top of Melbourne. Neil into Tracker. Yeah, Petrarca against you guys, I mean, is not too bad. How do you guys rate for scores against mids? You're ranked 10th for scores considered to midfielders. So it's possible that he could do really well. The thing with Petrarca is, and Melbourne, this is their only game they play all year at Marvel. They haven't played before this, and they will not play there after this. This is literally their only game at Marvel. So it will be interesting.
Petrarca,
condition-free footy might suit Petrarca.
As much as I love Anthony, and I hope he's watching, because I love you, Anthony, I think Melbourne are going to tear them a new one, Joe. I think West Coast are in real trouble. If Jack Steele does not pick himself up, if he doesn't pull out some kind of form, because he wasn't great on the weekend. No. If he doesn't pull out some kind of form, mate, he is in trouble. He is in real trouble. Petrarca's the one to tear them a new one, because I don't think Oliver's coming back for another week as well. Probably not. Depending on what's happening. So but if I had Petrarca, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Causa, who do I pick up this week? Libba, Track, Neil, or Chera? Would prefer a pod as need to gain from 8.5k and get closer to top 5k.
Okay.
Mate, Chera's been on fire.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick Chera. It'd be either Libba or Track for me if I wanted a pod. Yep. But I think Neil's run home is very good as well. So it's hard to pass up that. I think he's still got half a dozen games at the Gabba. We know he scores big at that stadium. So he's the one that's kind of the sneaky one. If I had to choose, though, as much as you can't tear Libba and Track apart, man. I love Track. I think he does a lot. But Libba has another game like he did on the weekend. And you're going to pinch yourself if you don't pick. This guy was 570k, Joe. Come on. No one picked him. No, I mean, his first few games weren't great. But now, boy, oh boy, 570k.
Libba is 20% owned in the top 1%. Yep. So that's a bit of it's a bit of a pod. It's a bit of a pod. So I wouldn't be, whereas if you want a guy like Petrarca's owned by 44.8%. So almost half of the top 1% own him. And about 3% of people in there have traded him in. So if you want a pod, then you'd go Libba. And he's a gun. Libba's an absolute gun. He could go bananas again this week. Their run home, how many games do they still play at Marvel for the rest of the year? I think they play Collingwood there this week. And then they've got SCG, small ground against Sydney, Essendon at Marvel, Giants, Richmond at Marvel, West Coast at Marvel. So they've still got a few. They've got West Coast at Marvel. Bro, Libba could go 160 that game.
Yeah, that's the 1 week that you say, hey, Bond, remember how I said you're not a good captain? Get me some captain scores.
Yeah, exactly.
Get me some captain scores, mate, because I need it.
Exactly. Yeah, Chera's only 1.1%, but there's a reason for it, Causa. No one believes in him. Jen, how's it going? Thanks for coming in. Thinking Dacos into Dunks or Neil.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go. Smart, Jen. I'm not going to go Dunks, man. Not after he's been subbed out last week with a weird feeling calf. I don't like.
He got like a corky, didn't he? Wasn't that the diagnosis? Was he got a corky? So he'll be fine.
Yeah, and he said his calf felt weird. So I don't like that. I don't like when things feel weird in your body. I'd much prefer a fully fit, healthy, firing Lion King.
You've heard it here, boys and girls. Joe doesn't like it when things feel weird in his body.
And that's how I met your mother. No, I'm just joking. Causa, I brought in Houston for Marshall last week. Ooh,
nice.
Causa.
Nice. Good job, Causa. You're on fire, man. I mean, we just talked about you getting closer to the top 5K, but you're doing really well.
Absolutely. Jen got 23-28 this week with Bont captain and Oliver in team still.
Jen, if Oliver doesn't come back till like round 20, mate, that's a lot of money to be holding this entire time. I'm sorry. Like,
Jen, you
it's
could have
really
been so
rough.
much higher ranked at this point.
Yeah. It's
saying.
rough.
Just saying. You could have. I don't know how many extra points. How many games has Oliver missed this now? And now has he missed
Like
5,
6?
6?
Yeah.
You know how many? And you could have sideways him to basically any premium. You know what I mean? Like how many? That's 6 weeks of primo scoring gone by holding on to him. I still got to respect the hustle and the belief that when he comes back, he will make it up for you, 100%. All right. Want to go through fan footy and go through the games?
Yep, sounds good, Joe. Go for it.
Alrighty, let me present. Ba-ba-da-da. We'll start off with the first game where the Brisbane Lions absolutely dismantled the shit, excuse my French, out of Richmond. They really were lacking a lot of leadership and guns on the field. And then Short went out with a hammy to Corky to the hammy very early in the game as well. Only 22% game time. So
it was not fun to watch. I mean, it was great. Bad. Yeah, it was great as a Lockie Neal owner. I'm happy I kind of went steal to him 2 weeks ago, but yeah, it's really tough. This game really felt like similar to the game last week where it was, hey, kick the ball towards your forward line and Harris Andrews is going to come and mark it. It was tough, man. Will Ashcroft is a freak. They're so lucky that Brisbane could get him as a father-son. I mean, if he wasn't a father-son, he probably wouldn't be as good, let's be honest. But this guy's a freak. He's so good. Jasper Fletcher's so good. You look at Dev Robb doing really well. I feel they're kind of a little bit like how Melbourne have been, where they're slowly cycling out probably their 6 or so worst players and then building that up every year. I could probably pick 1 or 2 players maybe in that team now that shouldn't be there. And then that's it, right? Like maybe an Archie isn't best 22, he's kind of best 24 or 5. Probably Darcy Fort's a similar position as well. But outside of that, I really don't think there's much left. Richmond, not a great week. They got slaughtered. Nice to see Hopper back, but I don't think there was a half good score on that team. When Tyler Young outscores Taranto in a game of football, you've had a shit week.
Bro, 38% disposal efficiency.
Yeah.
38?
Yeah.
What
it's
the hell?
Bro. It's not. What is this guy been smoking?
Oh, my God. I'm not sure when was the last time I've seen a disposal efficiency for a primo that bad. That is incredible. So, look, he's a blip in his radar, 21 touches, 6 tackles. He gave it his all, 10 contested possessions. He led the way for his team. So it's not like he was terrible by any stretch, but that when you got that disposal efficiency, he was always bound to suffer with his scoring. Julie, how is Neil a Lion King? He spent most of his career at Freo. Yes, good record, but still is it. Mate, he was traded there 2018. He's been there for 5 years now. That's sufficient time.
Bad call, Julie. Bad call. I mean, I understand, but he won his Brownlow. I mean, if he won his Brownlow in Fremantle, all right, I can understand. But he went to Brisbane and became the player that he is.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, Causa, everyone was having low disposal efficiency this week. Taranto was abysmal. Bont was down. Dawson was down. Will Day was down. A lot of these. Brayshaw was down. Brayshaw had over 100 fantasy for 80 Supercoach, so it was a bad week. So, Hugh McCluggage, he just capitalized. I feel like whenever there's a demolition and the Brisbane Lions are well and truly on top, you just see Hugh McCluggage really shine. Great on the outside, and yet he still had 14 contested possessions himself. He actually got more than Taranto did, who only got 10. So that's really impressive.
He's just a really good player.
He is.
Yeah, I want him at my club. It's never going to happen. The kid's never going to leave, but he's just a really good player. Hugh McCluggage, what was he, pick 6? And he's the one as well. This game, he was fantastic, but he almost goes unnoticed. You know what I've found? Kind of like Dunkley and Neil are there and they're doing their own thing and they'll cop the attention. No one's tagging Hugh McCluggage, man.
No,
if you came into the team sheets and said, yep, this week we've got the magnets out, we've got our names on the board, Tagger, you're going on Hugh McCluggage. If a coach came out and said that, mate, you'd be sacked, Joe. They'd laugh at you.
100%. Oh, Patrick
How you going, Patrick?
Ferrugia, watching from Europe, but Supercoach always on my mind, mate. Yeah, always on my mind. Always on my mind.
And
All
Brisbane
good.
are only going to get stronger too, with Ashcroft taking another one of those spots. With who else? Dev Robb probably going to take that spot as well. So yeah, their team's so good. Connor McKenna, Lincoln McCarthy's been suspended for one game for the jumper punch on
rightfully so.
Yeah,
rightfully so.
I'm just letting the fans know, Joe. They haven't seen it already. No one's told us in the chat, so he's going to get suspended. You know, Brisbane are not going to win this week against West Coast because Lincoln McCarthy's not playing. So that's it, mate.
It's over. GG. It's a wrap.
Best player on their team.
Yeah, this kid, man. Every time he plays at home, he is so good. And it's not even just the flashy things he does. It's the small things, the cleanliness, the quick handball in a pack situation, highly contested. He's insanely good. Absolutely love watching this guy. And I still reckon his goal is the leading candidate for goal of the year. Jackie Chan mid-air check side snap from the pocket that went through. That's just ridiculous.
I think there's a few people who are up for that as well. But it was fantastic. I think one of the big things for watching Lockie Neal for me this year too has been it just looks like he's put on more size. Watching the preseason generally has always been okay. It's been a case of okay, this is when a player puts on their size, right? Extra time in the gym, less time during the season. If you could put up a picture of Will Ashcroft at the start of the year versus what he looks like now, I reckon he's put on 5 or 6 kilos. Yeah. What are they eating in Brisbane? Do we need to go get ASADA on them, Joe? Do we need to go to Essendon and check what they're doing? Because Will Ashcroft's got bigger.
The problem, what's made him bigger is the fact that he is training with Lockie Neal, with Dunkley, with McCluggage. He is training with absolute professionals. Yeah. And I can't imagine obviously this kid is blessed with a lot of natural ability and things. But it's not just that. Player. It's also the environment that he finds himself in. He clearly has been training for a very long time to be ready for AFL footy. He enters the game, and look who he's training with. Look who he's learning from. Dunkley and Neal. Are you kidding me? He has absolutely everything going for him to be one of the greatest players to ever don the Lions jersey.
Yeah. And we've said it before in the past about good players going to good teams versus good players going to bad teams. Yeah. And Ashcroft definitely has got that made for him.
Absolutely. We've got a quick. Patrick is asking, does he go Will Day to Mills?
Are you trading Will Day to Mills, or is that
what he wants to do?
Captain options this week? Because
no.
Okay. Is Sicily back one more? Is Sicily back one more week or this week?
Next week, not this week. Next week.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I think you're picking a like for like player there.
Jennifer, the only way I can get to Josh Dacos or Mills is to use 2 trades, but will leave me with 1 trade left. Do you need 2 more premiums, Jen? Or do you only need 1 premium, or are these luxury, just for cover? So I don't think you need both of them. If you only need 1 premium, then I wouldn't get both of them. I'd reckon save yourself, keep at least 2 trades, I reckon.
As long as if you've got decent rookie cover or something. Let's pull up the next game, Joe. Let's power through
it. We got the Swans, absolute studs, absolute morons.
Oh man, this game was tough to watch. Hickey missed from the front. I think half a dozen other players missed from the front as well. All these people who should be the goal kickers on that team are Marty, Heaney, McLean. Okay, not McLean. But Ollie Florent and a bunch of other players. I think at one point, Sydney were 3 goals, 12.
Yeah.
Convert a couple of those 12 into goals. And, mate, they're dominating Geelong. Geelong were handed this game, and you saw it in the last minute or so when they got possession. They were just like, guys, let's just stop. Let's just take the draw. We're not going to play anything stupid. Let's not bomb it long and give up the win. Like, mate, it was done.
It was so because we went to watch this game in the pub after we recorded our episode of Fancast. If you haven't subbed to Fancast, please get on over and sub to Fancast. We're doing some awesome work, and you guys all know Swizz. Swizz has joined the party, and he is also going to be part. He's also part of the Fancast group now, so please head on over to Fancast. So we recorded the Fancast episode on the Friday night. Went to the pub, watched the game. When Fox hit the post, open goal, dying stages of the game, I literally threw my beanie at the TV. I couldn't believe it. I called him the biggest idiot I've ever seen in my life, and I threw my beanie at the TV. That was so stupid. But, mate, this guy was not stupid. He was great. Shame he couldn't kick a goal. 2 misses. Classic Sydney. No one could kick to save their life.
It was just a slog game. It was just like that's it. The ball went back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. As we can see from Tom Stewart, like, it just went to him. I reckon he got 50, not even 50 points. I think at end of the quarter time, he was on like 18. Half time, he was on like 38.
Yeah.
3/4 time, I reckon he was on 60 or 70 maybe.
Yeah.
And then popped out a 147. He almost kept them in the game, which is insane. But as we see, huge score, man.
7 contested possessions, 6.1 meters gained, a free
kick. This doesn't just intercept
tackle.
marks, but there would have been interceptions galore.
Oh, for sure. This guy is an absolute superstar. And I mentioned it on the Thursday night stream. Him playing at the smaller, narrower grounds, similar to GMHBA, is always a recipe for Tom Stewart going big, and it certainly helped when these guys kept missing. How many kick-ins did he have? I'd love to know how many kick-ins he had. I can pull up that statistic if I just go
from memory. I think that Tui took a few of them early, and that's why it kind of led to Tom Stewart's poor scoring at the start of the game. But after about half time, it was Tom Stewart party.
Yeah, he had 8. He had 8 kick-ins, and of them, he played on all 8 times. So, he got a lot of free points. He got 6 kick-ins last week against Melbourne. So, he's clearly their number 1 kick-in taker, which is awesome. So, that's, 100%. This guy is an absolute superstar. He's got your mob this week. Are you guys accurate in front of goal? 11 goals, 6.
Larky's all right. He's not bad, but I just don't think the ball's going to be down there much, to be honest.
Fair enough. Yeah, Tui did all right. Tied the same record games as No,
I think he's the highest now, isn't he?
The Melbourne great, Jim Steins. He's tied him actually. He should surpass him next week, I think. Atkins did all right, and Hawkins, if you got him. 76, 2 goals, 2. He's left a few points out there on the park for you. Tanner Bruin, back to Tanner Bruin. Shit things. You suck. I hate you. Dangerfield, a 54. I don't think many people have him still. Bose, mate, we were all hoping and dreaming for him. Turns out he was a nightmare. And then Asava. Mate, is Asava gone end of the year? Are they going to trade him out? Going back to Port?
I think there's going to be a few clubs that are going to come calling. I'm not sure if they're going to... I was thinking maybe they'll delist him. Start of the year, he was good for them. I think he's good enough cover, let's just say. But I don't think he's re-signed his contract yet. I think there's talks with a few clubs like Port. I don't think North will get him. I know we're in the line for some defenders, but I don't think we'll go after him. But, I don't think he's at Geelong next year, whatever happens. Teams like Port, if they don't get Mackay, they're going after Asava as like a poor man's cover. So, yeah.
I guess now's a good time to talk about Callum Mills because Jen is asking, I suppose, if she was, because she'd have to do 2 trades. She doesn't have the money to get someone in one trade.
Who's more expensive? No.
Is Mills the one you get over a guy like Josh Dacos? if you were to choose between Mills and Dacos, who would you go? Because Mills, he had that inside mid role like he was missing. He was playing central midfield.
Yep.
You can see it in the Dream Team conversion that a lot of these were contested.
Yep.
So he got extra points. And you can tell that he's playing in and under because most of his disposals were handballs. 6 tackles. He was at 11 contested with 76% game time. Do you reckon Callum Mills at his price of 400 and Mills is at 404,000? 404,000 for Callum Mills with a break even of 47 up against Richmond this week. Is Mills the one to go for?
How much is it, Ben? Okay. So Ben Keys is probably too expensive to afford now, which is a shame. Maybe. I think you have to. He's not a pick for me. I know he's had a couple of all right games, but, you know, it's like 2 years ago I got stuck picking Darcy Moore, and it's like, you know, it kind of just doesn't work out. If you have to, probably Mills, but, like, you're not going to feel good about it.
The thing with Mills is as long as Mills has the role like he had, and as Cheese says here, it's like Stars was riding him like a stripper. 100%. It was a great score for him. Correct. So if Mills can keep this role, then I think for that price point is an absolute steal. The only question is, does he keep that role? So he's now been in there for 2 weeks, and in these 2 weeks, there's been no Chad Warner because Warner's been out with a calf.
Yep.
When Warner comes back, does that push Mills out?
No, I don't think so.
Or does it push out Sheldrick?
No, I don't think it. I think it pushes out someone else. I think Hawks is good enough, and he's pushing for finals that he's not going to take out the things that work. And Sheldrick in the middle is obviously doing exceptionally well. So yes. I don't see them getting rid of Sheldrick. I don't really see them getting rid of Mills if he's actually going to be pushing for a position and doing well himself. I think they'll take someone else off.
It's not getting rid of. It's adding to the rotation.
Like losing the role. I don't see him doing that. I reckon someone else loses the role. Maybe a Campbell who's been playing in the middle if he's been doing that. Maybe
Sheldrick,
like a Melican or a Fox or someone else will lose the position over Callum Mills, who he knows is a soldier for him, and Chad Warner. Like someone else is losing a job before those two.
So you reckon Mills then, his job security in the midfield is safe. So therefore Mills should be the one.
Yeah, but Mills' scoring's just sketchy, man. That's my only problem. Like I don't see Horse taking Mills' job, but you know they're going to have a struggle 1 week. And it's just like, well, Mills, now you need it in the back line again. Here's a 50 score for your Supercoach owners. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah.
I agree, Cheese. Horse is a very infuriating coach.
Yes.
Why they even have contemplated the idea of playing him in other positions is ridiculous to me. So, look, I'm a big believer in Mills. I'm a big fan of him. 106 is a decent score. He scored 77.5 last week. So things are certainly on the up for him. And if he continues to maintain that role, he'll be fine. I mean, is it too late to wait a week on it? If he scores 73 next week, he'll go up 12K.
No, just wait.
You could wait. Depends who you have on field. Who do you have on field in that spot? If it's a Humphrey, then I think you just got to pull the trigger. Because I can't imagine living through another week of Humphrey scoring on field.
Yeah, nah.
That would be really shit.
As unfortunate as that is, yeah, nah, for me.
Yeah. Cheese, I'm sorry, mate. We won't be able to dodge it. We'll have to talk about it, mate. It is what it is. All right, we'll move to the next game. We've got, Jen's got Humphrey on field. I would not.
Nah.
I would not.
If that's the case, do the trade. Because Humphrey is going to shit you in the... Mate, you're going to be upset, Jen. Just do the trade.
Yeah.
Get rid of Humphrey. He's bleeding more cash than what Mills is probably going to cost you. 100%. Get rid of him.
Okay, so we've got... George is saying that, can we adjust our screen? It's a bit blurry. How do I do that, mate?
Unfortunately, I'm a bit stuck, Julie, because my screen runs off my upload speed at home, and my upload speed at home is not great for the next couple of weeks. So I'm kind of stuck. Yeah, 3 more weeks. The good internet's coming in, and I'll be happy. But unfortunately, I'm stuck with the 720p until that happens. I don't think it's that screen, Joe. I think it's the actual.
Oops, one too many. One too many. I don't know. Does that look okay?
Nah,
Apart from
put it
Palmer
back the way
bet,
it was, Joe.
so that we can read the numbers better. See if I can put it up on my phone. Let us know in the comments if this is more legible, or if you want it to go back to the way it was. We live to serve. We don't want to do bad things for you. So if this is more legible for you, please let us know. Otherwise, I can obviously put it back to the way it was. We then come to Adelaide versus North. You guys were very competitive for the first half before it sort of fell away.
First quarter and a half. It wasn't great. We definitely fell off. I'm not sure if there was a penalty or something that had happened, but yeah, North definitely fell off pretty that game.
Fair enough.
I don't think we can do it this way, Joe. I think you have to put it back the other way.
Very well.
Yeah.
No, one too many. Doesn't work. Cheese wants to hear your thoughts on Luke McDonald. My best mate's a North fan, and he's very frustrated by him. What do you think?
No, he's just not good. He's look, if his dad wasn't a legend, I guess, at the club, or wasn't well known, I don't know if he would have got the contract length that he did. For some reason, we've locked him in for the next, not 6, maybe 5 more years until 2029 or some stupid number. So, yeah, I don't think he's very good. I think he's selfish. I think he's lazy on field. Yes, he has times when he's good and plays an okay game. But we saw on the weekend just kind of what he doesn't do. He doesn't offer that leadership as well, which really suffers. Yeah, Corey, 100%. 100%. I don't disagree, but that didn't stop Luke McDonald from not tagging people in the back line. That didn't stop him from not tackling people as they walked past him. So, I mean, it's not the first week it's happened, but we're kind of locked into playing him every week because he's been the captain and we don't have guys pushing through. Port's been really good because they've been able to come in and say, Tom Jonas, you're not playing up to standard. See you later. Zorko, hey, you're not been playing up to standard. Or Daniel Rich, you've not been playing. Here's plays to cover. We can't do that with McDonald. And it just shows, man.
Yeah. It just shows. You know what else it shows? It shows that Riley O'Brien is a very decent ruckman.
Well, he kind of knocked out Todd Goldstein and then just dominated for the second half of the game.
52 hitouts, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it was good. And then Ben Keys, mate. Ben Keys at 460K has been fantastic for me. He's taken over. I knew it was going to happen too. Rory Laird, as we spoke before, right? Rory Laird, he just accepts it. But Ben Keys is just dominating.
Mate, 124 off a 55% disposal efficiency.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. He's good. He's really good.
He's freaking on fire. I can't believe I won't own him. Mitch Hinge, a defender with a 110. Very impressive. 10 marks. That came out of the blue. Rochelle, however you like to call him, 103.
Rochelle.
With 2 behinds. So he left a few points out there on the table. 7 tackles as well. So he's been sensational, playing higher up the ground on a wing and then pushing forward. Giordano Dorsano, 136 Dream Team for 102 Supercoach. The proof was in the pudding. He had 64 disposal efficiency with 4 clangers, if you don't mind. So
I think he got some attention at some point, but didn't help much, did it?
Nah. Darcy Fogarty, The Fog, 4 goals, 1, doing very nice things, 93 points. Roy Sloan, look at that, 30 touches for 89 points. That's rough.
Yep.
63 efficiency. Where is he? Where is the bastard? This one. Imagine we paid freaking over 700K for this son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, 84 points. Handball merchant.
I brought him back at 650K as well. Like, I got rid of him, did the right thing by my team, spent a few weeks and then got him back again. So, yeah.
What's this? Mighty Medium Joe. The screen is better by whatever you did. Tar. Go Zeret. We love Zeret, mate. Zeret is our legend, is our hero, is our superstar.
Cheese. I think Goldstein has. I think he's got slower. To be honest, I think he's slowly teetering off. I think we're going to give him another year contract, but yeah, Cherry could end up being the number 1 next year if he keeps doing as well as he did on the weekend. Yes, he was only playing Williamstown. I know Tom Downey, the guy that he played, work with him at work, so unlucky Tom. But yeah, he did well, and he's kind of the player who I think we're trying to push to be the next ruckman. I think Goldie might end up being a bit more VFL. And we might just coax him along till he's 300 as well, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is.
It's sad, but it's true. Hey. All right, so we got Tex Walker. 3 goals, 3 for 71 points. That's rough. He also left a few points
defenders
out there.
We can't stop defenders, man. Like, it's just plain.
Defenders?
We just can't stop
He's
them.
a forward.
Sorry, not defenders. So forwards, yeah. Our defenders just can't stop players.
Yeah.
As sad as it is, we just can't stop nobody. They come in, they're just like, yep, going to push you out of a spot. See you later, alligator. That's it.
No one could stop this guy, though. The court might, but no one on the field. He did very well. 94 points for 23 touches, if you don't mind. 2 goals, 1. Very slick, very clean. Great player is Taron Thomas. You should be very happy with him.
Yeah, he's getting a lot better. Slowly showing kind of what North fans knew he could do, which is fantastic for us. It's just a shame that it's happened now and not earlier, and especially with him kind of coming up for contract at the end of next year as well. Like, if he keeps up this stuff, he might be saying, hey, give me those dollars, and we're going to be forced to do that, or someone else is going to poach him. Like, it could be auditions for another club at the moment, or he's really just like, yep, this is where I want to be. I hope it's the latter. I hope, like, he wants to stay at the club. We'll just have to kind of see what happens come earlier on next year, I think. I don't think he's going to re-sign now, but he could be one as well that we not look to lose, but could be a what's the word, Joe? A target for when Tasmania comes through, because being from Tasmania, not that he kind of loves Tasmania or anything, but we got him as NGA from Tassie, so yeah, doing really well. Adelaide's just been tough, man. They're just a good team. They won't make finals this year, but they're a really good team.
If they beat us this week, then they are right up to their eyeballs for final contention. So.
They're going to push you guys hard, man. They are not going to let up this game. They are really going to push you hard.
Yeah, they might even beat us, to be honest. LDU, 94 points. Not a bad return for him. Even got a goal as well. So great first hit out.
He's good.
A lot of upside still for him.
Yeah, he's good. It just, I don't know. As you say, not a bad first hit out. That's all I'll say.
Zeeble, 93. 22 touches, 5 marks. Is what it is. He got a lot of supply. Sheasel, geez, he was very unclean. 31 touches, 31 possessions for 79 points.
Yeah, it's kind of the first time in a long time where I'm actually just like, oh, snap. Having Sheasel over someone else. And I think he was the one that a lot of people dropped. I know that, like, a lot of people traded out one of the two, and I know you did similar as well, Joe. Traded out one of the two. I think, Sheasel starting to fall off a little bit, unfortunately, and it's tough because Ashcroft's is pushing up. So one of the two are probably going to be the rising star. Maybe an Owens or someone will come in.
Owens,
these these kind of performances on his part. Yes, we're not winning the games, but at least be clean. 7 clangers. Come on, mate.
Nah, it's Machida Owens. Owens he's killing it this year. He's been sensational.
A boy can dream, Joe. A boy can dream.
Georgie Wardlaw, if it was on pure effort alone, Wardlaw would win the Rising Star by the length of the Flemington Straight. The kid's a jet. 7 tackles.
He's a good player.
7 tackles.
He's a good player.
9 contested possessions, if you don't mind. 6 clangers, though. Another one with a lot of clangers to his game. But it's understandable when you've got the high pressure Adelaide Crom right in your face. Eddie Ford, where was he playing this week? He was playing small forward.
I think he played forward, yeah. It's the wrong position to have him in. And I can't believe the coach has started to put him in back into that position. He's not a forward, Rat. He's just not.
Sack him. We need to get Clarko back.
He might actually be back this week, which is going to be fun.
Ooh, very nice. All right, we'll move on. Next game. Doggies they beat the hoodoo. They broke the curse. They bucked the trend of a bye team losing to a non-bye team. Didn't happen. They were the first team to do it, and the bye team being a non-bye team. And as soon as I saw this happen, I knew, oh shit, it's going to happen to us. We're going to lose the Port. And that's exactly
what you almost won. Like, you can't say that. You almost won. Yeah, the Dogs came out to play. The Dogs came out to play as a non-Sean Darcy owner. I'm kind of sad that I don't have him anymore. But it was a tough game. Bont got kind of held back to nothing. Libba kind of got held back to nothing. McRae the same. Liberatore was, dominating for most of the game. And then the last kind of 20 or so minutes, these guys just really plateaued in their scoring. And I think that's where maybe what Freo weren't coming back, but that's where a lot of their players did really well. Liam Henry, another 30-plus possession game. I know there's a few clubs looking at him at the end of the trade, come the trade period. So he's one to really look out and watch. But did he play on the wing, Joe, or where did he play this week?
Yeah, Liam Henry on the wing.
Yeah, so imagine if Freo lose another winger. Like, they've just lost Akers. They lost all these other players. Brad Hill, all these guys. Now they're going to lose someone else again. So, yeah, could just be the position that no one wants to play at Freo and everyone wants to play in Victoria. I know there's some talks with Liam Henry going to North, so we'll see what happens there.
Ooh, will be huge for you. Caleb Sarong. Speaking of huge, Caleb Sarong went huge as well. 28 points. 7 tackles. If you don't, 18 contested possessions.
Brayshaw kind of fell off a cliff.
WTF? 18 contested. That is ridiculous. With 10 clearances, that is just a monstrous performance against the Dogs, who are a black hole for points in the midfield. You see how many people score heaps for the Dogs. That is a sensational effort. I would have gone Sarong if not for concerns about his leg and his health. Unfortunately, that's come back to bite me in the ass. Brayshaw, 102. Dream Team, 80 Supercoach, 7 clangers, 72% efficiency. Very sad. He should bounce back.
It's rough.
He'll bounce back. Someone who won't bounce back, though, is freaking one Nat Fife. I can't believe Fremantle tried to play on for 2 years.
Yeah, it's tough. And it's a shame, too, because he, that joke was in kind of poor form, but he's Nat Fife in poor form. Sorry, Nat Fife. But, yeah, for a guy that's kind of brought himself back from the brink to now be out, possibly for the rest of the season, it's sad, right? It's pretty sad. He's not going to retire, but Mundy was their hope, and then Mundy retired, and now Fife's kind of, it's really going to be the age of, the age of, Fife and Freo rebuilding at this point. Who else do they have that was kind of from that era? Maybe a defender, but that's like it.
Yeah, they don't really have much else. It is a young developing team. Michael Walters is probably one of those senior
he's
players.
Probably the last one then, out of kind of like the really named players from that kind of era that wasn't Brayshaw.
Yeah. What's his face? Poulter, debut, first game for the Dogs. 39
He didn't
points.
do too bad.
It was
No
okay.
clangers, which was a surprise for that team. So, yeah, he did all right.
Not too bad. Caleb Daniel, he was on absolute fire. He was going crazy. He was going gangbusters. And then just like that, bang, 77 points. You can't trust someone who is a yo-yo like that. McRae, 24 touches, very low by his standards. Trelaw, 22. Bont, 28. You're just sharing the love. Bailey Dale, that's the thing. Like, he had a great game for himself, Bailey Dale. No clangers, playing off the back line with 92% disposal efficiency. What a joke. Absolute superstar. And he even kicked the goal to go for his troubles as well. So decent all-around game for Bailey Dale. It looks like he takes turns. They take turns in who demolishes. You watch what happens when Ed Richards comes back, though.
I mean, they take turns in kicking the ball around as well, so it's probably no difference in what you're saying there, Joe. It's an interesting one, yeah. Who comes out if Ed Richards comes out, so comes back in the team? Who's the one that's going to get kicked out? Really, you reckon?
It's definitely going to be Poulter.
Yeah, which is sad. You know, Poulter,
sure,
I think, is kind of doing well for himself, but yeah, maybe Anthony Scott or someone else takes the hit as well. On the Freo side, Brennan Cox did well. Sarong, as you say, yeah, it's a tough one, man. Guys like Sam Sturt not doing well, and Nat Five, they had no chance, man, in this game.
No, they don't. They don't have anybody.
Let's go over to the next one, Joe.
Let's go to the next one. The next one is the Suns absolutely getting shellacked by Collingwood in what was a very frightening display. These people,
yeah,
they just flex their muscles, man.
It was almost as bad as the game that's after this, the Hawks one, where just one team scored a lot and the other team scored nothing until right at the end. Dacos did well. Both of the Dacos done well. Jen, you must be very happy with how well in tandem these two players are going. Jamie Elliott did his thing up forward, which is really scary too, because it's either him or it's Bobby Hill or it's a couple of other players that actually are the ones that score. Moving down the list, we got Darcy Moore, kick it straight to him again. Quaynor did well as well. And then Tom Mitchell didn't even have to do much this game. So
no,
I think that's the strength of the Collingwood team, similar to a Brisbane, similar to a Port, as we'll talk about in a little bit. These teams can kind of negate missing out on players or players getting tagged or getting attention because everyone else just covers, and that's just what's happened. I mean, Pendles didn't have a big game. Crisp didn't have a big game. I mean, yeah, stats-wise, he didn't have a fantastic game. But, you know, who cares? Your team's just that good. Going over to Gold Coast, mate, Flanders, this is not the preseason. You can't go 119. I'm sorry, mate. Noah Anderson, average. Matt Rowell, I think, was on score for quite a lot and then just really fell off. Powell, similar. Just moving down that list. Jared Witts, sorry, you know. The thing that, it's tough, man. The thing that always ticks me off, though, is Cameron, 61. Like, kicked a goal and only scored a 60. How do you manage that, mate? I'm sorry.
That's ridiculous. That's just, I don't know. Witts has not been his usual self this year.
Yeah.
And it's also because
coming off that injury, too, it's not great for him.
And his midfield is not firing as much as expected. Because he doesn't have Tuke Miller in the side, right? So his midfield has become a bit weaker. Obviously, Anderson and Rowell are doing all they can and trying to carry as much of the load, but they're relying on someone like a Flanders, to really step up. Bailey Humphrey, a young player, a rookie, who's now found himself not getting much CBA time at all. Now he's playing a lot more forward. So it's rough. It's a rough situation to be in. I definitely would not be looking at him. You're only two ruckmen. If you're rocking a English Briggs combination, then that's really good, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Cheese is asking,
yeah.
should we be worried about Darcy Cameron?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's just a bad game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they were trialing out Billy Frampton playing a number of different roles because I think they expect McStay. They're sort of preparing for when McStay comes back. So I feel like they were sort of having a test run in terms of what the team structure would look like, how with McStay in the side, and Billy Frampton was basically playing as a proxy for McStay. So I wouldn't be too worried. Plus,
which sucks for Billy Frampton.
It does. But they were playing up in the Gold Coast, and it's dewy conditions. It's not suitable for ruckman. 61 for him, and you look at what Witts scored, a 75 only with 29 hitouts. You know what I mean? It was just a bad game, a bad day in general for the ruckman. I wouldn't look too deeply into it, to be honest. I reckon Darcy Cameron will still be fine.
Yeah. I think so too.
And
if you look at it, like Mason Cox didn't do well, Jared Witts didn't do well. It's probably just a bad day for ruckman, to be honest.
Yep, exactly. All in all, a bad day for ruckman. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be worried about it. Mitch, 30 disposals for 92, not sensational. 4 clangers, 70% efficiency. Nick Dacos, what a star. Absolute superstar.
Hey, and another one similar to Ashcroft, father-son Joe.
Yeah, another father-son. Julie, after what Humphrey did last week, I traded him to Flanders. His role was great the week before. Congratulations. You ended up absolutely flourishing and getting a 119 out of Flanders. So congrats to you, Jules. Jen, would Mullen get another game? She's asking. Would Ocean Man get another game?
I don't know. Geelong seemed to be a bit hesitant to play him because they've just got a lot of players. I mean, he was in because other players were out. So it's a tough one. My heart's telling me no. My heart's telling me they've really got to have another injury to get rid of him or to bring him back in. It's the reason why I didn't go him. I went that Freo guy instead, the Dwyer, I think his name is, because I thought he might have a bigger chance. At least being named as emergency. But yeah, so I think someone's got to get injured in that Geelong team for him to come in.
Yeah, agreed. Kev, hey guys.
How you doing, Kev?
Who should I bring in as my last mid? I have 627 100 to play with. Libba is 627 200.
That sucks, Kev. Oh. That sucks, mate. That sucks.
$100 dues.
Who can you bring in? Let's go sort by highest price. 621. Josh Kelly, no. Butters would be all right. Chalor would be a good pick for you if you want. That's probably one of my two. But Butters or Chalor, Joe? Which one would you pick?
Butters,
yeah. I think one of those two. You could go Chera if you wanted to. 3-round average of 129. So he could definitely be a pick for you. He's versing his former team this week, so he could go big. And he would be a super pod.
Sarong?
He would definitely be a super pod. Yeah, Sarong as well.
But I do like the DPP that Butters gives.
Yeah.
109 in what was a pretty down game for him. I thought we did a sensational job. I thought Hobbs got the better of him in the wet conditions on the day, which I think is just a testament to how great Hobbs is. And this definitely was a game where Rosie was more damaging than Butters. And, he kicked, I think Rosie had kicked 3 goals or something. So if Butters doesn't kill you, Rosie will. If you have both of them, then you'll end up handcuffing yourself to both of them, and you'll know for sure that you're going to get the one that pops off every week. So
yeah,
it
will be one of the two that does well.
Correct. It could be both of them. They both went over 100. So I reckon Butters for that price. Why not?
Yeah, so, Chera if you want a super pod.
Do we like Fife to Libba and Data Doherty this week for Causa?
Fife to Libba, Data Doherty. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, next game. We have to do it. I'm sorry, Cheese. I don't like it as much as you do. We have to talk about it. That's all right. It's therapy. The Bombers fall short by 4 points.
I'll let you do this one, Joe.
To the power. Dan Houston, a big fuck you for being so good. I hate you. You're such a gun. As soon as he took the mark, I knew it. It's going through. If there was anyone who was going to do it, it's him. What a star. 32 disposals, 7 marks. And, of course, that one goal, very crucial. 15 contested possessions, if you don't mind. Connor Rosé, 3 goals. He was a class player. 141 off 23 disposals. That is sensational. In the wet, 82% efficiency. He showed what he's capable of. Farrell was also huge. Dylan Williams.
Yeah, it sucks.
Ken Hinkley.
This guy was 123K at one point. Thanks, Ken.
I hate you with a passion, Ken. Not only are you sitting there smiling smugly on the bench, as you know Houston's about to and break our hearts, you also drop this guy to make him the sub, and we miss out on all this.
Majority of the Supercoach community did, to be honest. It was a tough one. And then no one brought him in when he was like 130K, and then no one brought him in when he was 160, and then that was it, really. The guy's been a freak. What is he? Let me just check Footy Wire now. But yeah, this he's been fantastic for them.
20.
And you know the scary thing, Joe?
What?
He's up for contract at the end of the year.
Oh.
Someone's going to say, Dylan Williams, come to my team. Let me give you some money.
No,
he's probably going to take it.
Yeah, no clangers in the wet, playing in the back line. You know what a freak. Zach Butters, great game, 25 touches, 109 points. You know, Charlie Dixon, I thought we did a good job mitigating his influence on the game. I think BZT did pretty well, and Laverty also did really well, so he didn't dominate us. Power Pepper was down. Wines was well down on what he was dishing up until this point. He was doing really well, but I thought our midfield brigade of Caldwell, Hobbs, Merritt, Perkins even did a really good job. And I thought, look at that. Their 2 inside mids in Wines and Horn Francis scored really bad. And then you look on the flip side to our mids, Merritt up here, Parrish up here, Caldwell up here, Hobbs up here. This was our on-ball brigade. They were our top 4 scorers, and they smashed them in terms of Supercoach scoring. So I think that shows just how great of a performance we put up against the Power this week. It's agonizingly close, but you can't win 12 in a row. Well. Yeah. We can't win 12 in a row and be like, oh, this is a normal team. There's clearly something special happening at the Power to do so. Zach Merritt, bro, what a star! Honestly,
he's a good player.
31 touches, 83 efficiency, 12 contested possessions. So it's inside and outside. Darcy Parish, 58 disposal efficiency, 0 goals for. I wish he had hands for feet. Honestly, his kicking was so shit. As you can see there, 4 goal. Caldwell was sensational again. 24 touches for 126. 2 goals in the last quarter. Came in clutch. I assume those also boosted his scores up. Ben Hobbs, more time in the midfield.
You think Parrish goes at the end of the year, Joe?
Nah, I think he's said openly that he wants to stay. It looks like if the player comes out and says that they want to stay, then they'll likely stay.
You're just waiting for the contract to get worked out now?
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's good for you. Because people are going to come and ask, and they're gonna say, hey, here's some money. Like, you're a half-decent player. You're getting 30-odd touches every week. Like, hey, let's make it happen.
Absolutely. Ben Hobbs, again, another one. Andrew Phillips, one of his best games ever played for the club. Don't want to touch him with a 10-foot barge pole. Redmond, 9-9. It is what it is. Langford, the one I shouted out in Fancast episode of someone who is flying under the radar for other teams. 3 goals, 1. He's leading our goal kicking, 16 disposals, 7 marks in the wet, which was really impressive. So love Carl Langford's game. Nick Martin wasn't prolific. Ridley, as an intercepting, defender, very tough in those wet, greasy conditions to stick those intercept marks. And you can see he only got 3 for the game, which is down on his average. And then, yeah, a lot of these players really were just role players. I thought the decision to sub Menzie out was wrong.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted this bastard to be subbed out, but it is what it is.
From memory, though, it did feel a bit like they weren't bombing the ball down the middle as what they probably have been used to. So maybe that's why Ridley didn't get as many intercepts. It seems to be a bit of a Rosie type running the ball through the middle and into the forward line instead of bombing it into the forward line. So Port did their homework. Yeah, they said, hey, we can't kick it to Ridley if we want to try and win. We've got to go another way, and obviously that's what's happened a little bit this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I mean they won the game. It was a battle of inches. It was a really close game. It could have gone either way. The sirens sounded, we were ahead, but that wasn't the game. So that's how close it was. Both teams were very evenly matched. One of the games
they had the power to win.
They had the power to win. You can't tear them apart. You cannot tear these bastards apart. So congratulations to them. We tried, but and congratulations, Jen. She's done Humphrey and Roberts to Mills and 102K rookie Bennett. She's now a full primo team. Congratulations.
Congratulations
on you, Jen. We'll now get to this game. The Hawks v Carlton. Hawks were goalless in the first half, mate.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I watched that game and I was just like, what? Like, what's happening? Like, I think they had scored 5 or 6 points, but it was 5 behind.
Yeah,
and it was just like, it was just like, oh, okay. And then similar to the Gold Coast game, right? They came back a little bit, but yeah. Congratulations to those people that kept Mitchell as long as they have, kept Weddle as long as they have. Joe's done well in that regard, and that's why he's higher. Will Day, thanks for the 140, and then the 100 are now going back to being shit. Thanks, mate. Making me feel not as bad, but yeah.
69.
It was the game that Carlton have won 2 in a row now. And they're just looking good. They're powering home in September. So we'll see what happens with them over the next couple of weeks. They were expected to win this game. So who are they playing next week is really the question. If they've got someone dangerous, things are going to be a lot different for them.
They're going over to WA to play against Freo.
Yeah, so they'll probably win that game. But then the following week, maybe not.
Nah, Freo wins that game.
Nah, no chance.
At home, Freo wins.
Nah.
Chat, what do you reckon? Who wins that game? Freo at home versus Blues this week. I reckon Freo get the win. I don't know. They pushed the Dogs this week, and the Dogs are really good at Marvel. I reckon the Blues are inflated heads. I reckon. Cause I reckons Freo wins.
No, I don't think
so. Reckons Freo wins.
I don't think so. I think Carlton wins. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'd be Big J versus the chat, so that'll be me next week.
Big J versus all of us. Superbirds reckon Freo wins. We're all on the Freo brigade. Let's heave ho. We're gonna heave ho.
Hey, it's gonna make fan cams more exciting if they lose. Tell you what.
That it will. Cheese. Cripps or Walsh worth a trade in for Carlton's push to finals?
Nah, I think Chera's the one. He seems to be the one that's really taking a lot from them doing well. So if you could, I would go Chera instead.
Oh, mate, you've got Cheese on your side. Cheese reckons Blues win. So it's not all one way.
No.
Blues
Thanks, Cheese.
Chera might have been pot of the year. 7 of his last 10 have been 127 plus, 111 average. Great pickup if you hopped on, ignoring the buy and iffy roll. The problem is, Blues fan, I can't ignore the buy and the iffy roll. If you ignore a lot of major problems with this guy, he's actually
I guess that's true, right? Like if you ignore 15 bad scores and then like he kicked the dog, whatever, like 100%. A bit tough.
Yes. Jules. Freo wins. More of us reckon Freo wins.
I mean, you're right.
Fair enough. Chera, 2 goals. He won't do that every week. Mackay, 2 goals, 3. Classic inaccuracy.
Yeah.
Akers has been a great pickup for him playing on the wing.
I agree. Akers has been great.
Silvani, everyone, poor kid, copped a lot of abuse, gets no love from his dad, doesn't stop him from scoring 109. So stuff you, Silvani Senior.
Hey,
Stuff by you.
You say Silvani doesn't get love from his dad. His dad literally drafted him in the AFL. He gave him his shot. He said, "Hey,
right, it's a father-son.
It doesn't matter." His dad could have said,
does.
"No, we don't like you." His dad could have said, "We don't like you. You're no good.
The thing is,
get rid of you."
I said he gets no love from his dad. It doesn't mean he automatically gets hate. If his dad doesn't draft him, that is just pure hatred, right? But he will do the bare minimum for him. He'll get him onto the ground. But will you applaud him?
I guess
no.
not.
He will not applaud him. Will he smile for him? No, he will not smile for him. Doherty, 26 touches for 108. Stuff you. Where was this shit before? Bloody hell. Cripps, 104. Is he back? He back? 28 touches?
I just think it'd be like if anyone's versus West Coast, Hawthorn's a similar game. They're just versing nothing teams, so they just did well.
Maybe. Walsh, 25 cheap touches, 99 points.
There you go.
Cunners is an interesting one. Cunners could be a really interesting...
Joe, there's only one Cunners, and he plays for North Melbourne, all right? I'm sorry. This is fake Cunners. Fake Cunners. Fake Cunners.
Cunners Jr.?
No. Fake
Cunners the son?
Huh?
Fine. Cunners the son.
No, fake.
This guy's fake.
Got to step up for my North Melbourne people, you know?
This guy's fake.
None of this guy calling him Cunners business.
Oh, what's this? Dodoro drafted him, really? It's for Sauce.
What do you mean? Oh.
That's a good question.
Huh.
What do you mean? Did we match a bid? Did you guys match a bid or something? Explain, Bluespine. Explain. Mitch McGovern, Boyd, Kent, Kerno, no one important. George Hewitt was the sub, 19 points. Chincotta, we all got rid of him at the right time. That is that game.
Mm-hmm.
We then move to an upset of epic proportions.
Nice. And it's something we'll talk about a little bit on the podcast today. I've got a good question coming up. But yeah, this Melbourne Tech, how did you lose against GWS? GWS, they've started from the back line. Okay, maybe they've started from the midfield, but they've moved into the back line, and their back line is crazy good. And we just saw this from this game. Sam Taylor, big scores. Nick Haynes, big scores. Buckley, big scores. Moving down the list, Himmelberg, big scores. Lockie Ash, big scores. Connor Iden, big scores. And Cumming, didn't even do much. Still half decent and kicked a goal.
I was about to say, if you're about to say 65 is a big score, I'm about to freaking slap you.
Well, that's why I said he didn't do much, but he still participated. GWS, they were talking about on SEN radio today. They're building something special. They've got to keep Himmelberg or get a good pick for him. Mm-hmm. But if I could say, hey, 5 years ago, pick up Tom Green and he's going to be this good, mate, you'd be doing that any day of the week. Melbourne just fell off a cliff. Their forward line struggles. I'm not sure why Van Ruin got dropped, because I know he got dropped to the VFL, but Ben Brown is not Van Ruin. I'm sorry.
He's not him.
And he only kicked one behind. So you should have played Van Ruin. You probably would have done better for you. They would have probably won this game. Yes, Bailey Fritsch got injured really early, and that's definitely shaken things up. But Chandler's been on a fall the last couple of weeks. To lose him basically and Fritsch and then not have that young brigade pushing through, it's really tough to score. I mean, Petrarca fall behinds, man. One of those was a goal and they're in this game. I was surprised that GWS won, but they won, so congrats to them.
They won off this guy. This guy with a 70-meter bomb to put them in front. That was insane by Josh Kelly. He is a class act.
He's a good player, man.
Oh, he's a star. Tom Green accumulated at will. 28 handballs. What a handball merchant, honestly. That's ridiculous. 16 contested possessions. What a freak. Kieran Briggs with his first score under 100, proving to us that he is human.
He was on like 105, 106, and then gave away a couple of frees right at the end of the game, and that's why
he got stuck on the bench as well for a period.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, we'll take that.
Yeah,
Max Gawn was shocking for a long period of time. He was down on like the 60s, and then Grundy was similar as well, and then he obviously jumped up scoring when Briggs must have been on the bench. So
he waits for me,
but we'll take it.
He waits for me to trade him out, the bastard.
I know.
To finally start going 111s. Stuff you, Gawn. You watched.
He's like, Joe's not in my team. I don't know. I'm not owned by Joe. Let's go big.
Look at that.
Because that's what AFL players.
20 hitouts. 20 hitouts to his 17. Briggs is superior species. Get around him. Himmelberg only 84 for his 28 touches was a bit disappointing. Swear goes up 1 point every time he does something good. Getting shafted by champion data like Cogs does every game. Cogs is just a tragedy.
Yeah.
105 Supercoach for 86. 30 touches. 5 clangers.
It's another game where Cogs gets 30 touches and then doesn't score 100 points. I think this has happened 5 or 6 times this year. He's just fantastic. If we're playing fantasy, no worries. But we don't. And then, sucked butt.
Like, if we're talking fantasy, he was the second best player with Tom Green. You know what I mean? Only 2 people. And only 2 people in Dream Team thumbed up for Melbourne as well. So he was up there as one of the best players on the field for only 86 points. That's rough. Petrarca, he was the guy I traded in this week. 34 touches, 5 marks, 3 tackles, 4 behinds. Very similar to Darcy Parish. In fact, identical to Darcy Parish with 4 behinds. So if Darcy Parish can end up on the same level as Petrarca, then we're absolutely laughing. Petrarca 128. He left a lot of points on the park with those 4 behinds. Could have been a much bigger score. Jack Viney doing sensational work. These 2 are absolutely powerlifting Melbourne in the absence of Clayton Oliver. They can't wait for him to. He cannot come back soon enough. To help out this Melbourne team, because without him, they become very flaky and very shaky.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Yeah, when Oliver comes back, man, watch out, because this guy is going to have a fire under his butt. There's going to be puffs of smoke coming out of everywhere. He's going to be fun to watch. What other kind of analogies can we do, Joe?
He's going to, I don't know, just watch out. Just watch out. Clary's coming, man. What you're going to do when he comes for you. Speaking of come for you, the Eagles came for St Kilda. Like,
it was close, man. I love Kammer. I think he's great, but I almost wanted the Eagles to win. I know I said in our group chat this week, I was like, Eagles win. We're in a chance for pick 1.
Yeah.
Hartley Reid come to North Melbourne, but it wasn't meant to be. They just couldn't hold off in the end. They were winning for majority. They were winning for a majority of the game.
They were.
And then, St Kilda just said, "Nah, that's not it. When it's not happening, we're not going to be the team that loses against the West Coast. We're not doing a GWS. We're coming in here. That's it." So, pulled it off in the last 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, they did. There was a slow build-up. The Saints worked their way back into the game. And I just felt like the Eagles, it's been a long time since they last won a game. They lost steam. They got terrified. They got nervous. They're like, I can't believe it. We're winning. We got to hold on to this lead. And they just did not attack the game like they did in the first half. They sort of went away from their game that was working for them. And as a result, the Saints caught up. Brad Crouch, yet another. Like, what the? I was about to drop the F-bomb there. What is this, bro? 17 tackles in the game for Brad Crouch.
Yeah.
To go with 26 touches
it's
and no clangers.
Yeah, it's interesting because, 17 touches is not... 17 touches in a game is, average. 17 tackles. He's been phenomenal since he came over from Adelaide for this team. Obviously, the better Crouch brother out of the 2. And the reason a little bit, like Jack Steele might be up to full capacity now, but Brad Couch is the one that's taken all the points off him. I think Sinclair as well was lucky to get the score that he did. I know he did that in the last few minutes, but yeah, Brad Crouch, what a phenomenal. I think people had him in Supercoach too. So yeah, for a cheaper, hey, he's good. As Cheese says here, did Brad Crouch and Jack Steele swap talents? Mate, they might have done, but even last year, Crouch was one that when he went big, Steele didn't. And when he was injured, Steele was going big. And it was kind of like, well, Brad Crouch is back, so Steele's going to lose all his tackles. And we can see that in this game. 6 tackles for Steele, 17 for Brad Crouch. So, yeah.
100%. So it almost looks like Brad Crouch is more offensive midfielder, getting his hands on the ball, feeding it out, whereas Steele is playing that defensive midfielder role, which, I don't know, it's a bit weird. He was going, as you say, he was going to break Laird's record at one stage. He was on 15 and flying. Thought it was going to be there. 20 is the record. Very close to it against West Coast Eagles side. Rowan Marshall did all right. 34 hitouts. Still lost in that department to BJ Williams, who has certainly lifted in that department this year. 26 touches around the ground. Very impressive. Mason Wood, another over 100 score. Very impressive. Machida Owens, my tip for the Rising Star, 4 goals in a close game. It is no understatement to say this kid was the difference, and he won them the game.
And he was the difference. He's been the difference for them the entire year. How good he's been in that forward line for them has made or broken games for them. You just look at their scoring throughout the year. When Machida Owens played at the start of the season, they did really well, covering for Owen Marshall. He's doing it again now, and he's just dominating for them.
Absolutely. Gresh, 94, 21 touches. Looked dynamic. 11 contested possessions. You love to see that from him. Cal Wilkie just cementing himself, really. He's 10 marks. Like, he was an absolute wall in the back line for him. For sure. 100%. 100%. Jack Steele, a lot of concerns about him. 68 efficiency. 76% time on ground. It's pretty low. Jeez. I thought Marshall was amazing in that game. Was shocked he only scored 104. Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Jeez. Supercoach.
I think he was lucky to get 104 as well, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I remember him being a bit lower.
They traded him out this week, Cheese. He's not in Supercoach's team anymore. They traded him out to get a primo mid, so they're not gonna give him all the points he deserves.
They've now got Brad Crouch.
They've now got Brad Crouch, exactly. Cal Wilkie star. King, 1 goal for 76 points is not too bad. Nazaya, 93 dream team for 68 Supercoach points. 4 clangers, 63 points, 63 efficiency. I think there's a bit of a story brewing on Footy Classified tonight. So about what?
There was a rumor going around that Buddy might be retiring soon. So see what happens.
Big story. Big story. As is Shannon Hearn, 144, 13 marks. This man is Captain Seagull, absolute superstar. I would love to have him in my team, but he is so injury prone.
Nah, someone else can take him.
He's like a skeleton at this point. Liam Duggan, 114, very impressive. Witherden, 111, impressive. These are just defenders. This is the defenders. Barras, Witherden, Duggan, Hearn, all the defenders.
Happened with Freo as well, man. The defenders just the ones that are scoring the big points, unfortunately.
What's up with these WA teams and their defenders just scoring so much?
Because the ball's in the back line, Joe.
The ball's in the back line. Dom Shade with a 90. He would not have been a bad selection at the start of the year. Ryan Marriage, what a star this kid's been. He had the world record for the most points conceded in losses in his first 2 games, and he comes out with 2 goals with a 76. He's gone up like 48K. Congratulations, Ryan. Good job.
Yeah. And sucks for the people that obviously it's not the start of the season anymore, but a lot of people didn't actually have him in their teams because he was a laid in.
No.
So yeah.
Someone who is in a lot of people team is one Campbell Shitter.
People still own this guy. Like I get
do.
crapped on because I've got Constable and I've got Wagner. Okay, but people actually own Campbell Chesser. Like, really, mate? What are you guys doing with yourself? You own Campbell Chesser in your team.
Not me. I don't have him.
Not me neither.
I got Charlie Constable instead.
It's not much different.
At least this kid's playing. Whereas
that's very true. Charlie Constable like, kicked someone's dog and then he's never going to play again.
Bro, Charlie Constable might have been decapitated for all we know. He might have been disappeared, China style, for all we know. So yeah, see, Kev owns Chesser.
Of course.
Cheese is asking, is Jack Steele an option next year? A whole off season to get healthy, maybe gain some weight up again. I don't know.
I think what's shown me this year is that I try not to pick speculative picks, and Jack Steele is the king of speculative picks. So it's definitely, you can do it if you want. Like, no one's stopping you, right? But he's a definite no for me. Definitely. No. I'd rather if he was 560K, I'd rather spend up and go somewhere else. The only way you could make me do it is if Jack Steele 100% fit, preseason game scores 150 and he's like 300K. Then I would say okay. But like, yeah,
I'm not picking him because he's going to be 28 years old next year.
There you go.
I'm not picking him.
Better players. There's better players to start.
There's Brad Crouch in there. Sinclair runs through there. Machida Owens could run through there more. There's people, and I don't like Steele. I don't care. But Causa's backing you up. Apparently, it's Buddy's last game at MCG. I've heard potentially this week.
Yep, that was the rumor. And we'll see what drops on Footy Classified tonight. But yeah, that's kind of the rumor.
You can watch that. I'm not watching anything that has Caroline.
His last game versus Richmond, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not. You can watch that. I'm not going to watch it. Any show that has oxygen thieving, Caroline Wilson on there.
She hates North Melbourne more than Essendon. Why would I watch it,
bro? She hates Essendon a shit ton as well. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, mate. Everyone hates Essendon.
How you had to change it. She loves them a shit ton too.
Jeez, I'm stuck with the bastard Chesser. Kev is in that wonderful position of owning both Chesser and Constable.
Mate. Hey, at least Chess is playing. At least that's something.
Constable got 22 in VFL this week and thought he got concussed the week before.
Yeah, I think so.
Mate, Causa, clearly they don't give a shit about Charlie Constable to the point where they will breach concussion protocols to make sure that he does suffer from a proper concussion. They're really trying to disappear this kid. I don't know what he's done. But there's absolutely no thoughts for his welfare. Blues fan, if Caro says it, it's not true. Mate, how many videos of Caro Wilson was there? I have it on good authority. I hear that Clarko has chosen Essendon. He will be at the Bombers next year.
Oh, mate, you should have seen like the veins pop in all their heads when it got announced. Oh my God, that was the funniest thing ever. The veins started popping out in their heads. I'm like, yeah, that's it.
Caro, she's an oxygen thief, I swear. She provides absolutely nothing. As Ross asks, does Caro make things up, then argue the case? It has to be. It has to be. There was no way in the world that we were getting Clarko. You know, I was saying it all along, Big J. We came to the party way too late.
North had been in talks with him before we got rid of David Noble. And this was like April. So,
and we rock up the week before.
The week and a half before.
The week before.
Good TV because it's against North Melbourne. But yeah, it would have been very lucky for it to happen.
Caro's so stupid. Alrighty. That was all of the games. I suppose we can talk about the upcoming ones.
Yep.
Look at that. Freo Superstar could miss rest of season.
Yeah, I think he's done. At least done for this year.
Yeah. Sportsnut. Has it gone Sportsnut? Butters or Track to finish the team off?
Pull up the fixtures for both teams, Joe, and we'll see. There's what 8 weeks left to go. We can pick out who we think is going to win the next 8 weeks.
All right, so I'll start with Butters.
Melbourne playing.
Yeah, start with Butters. Butters.
All right.
Butters has got.
So Gold Coast should dominate that game. Probably dominate against Carlton. Collingwood's close, maybe not so much.
At home?
Yeah,
Crom
still.
At home?
Crom, I think he does well. Geelong, I think he does well. GWS does well. Freo does well. And then Richmond, I think, is going to be average. So, what's that? 6 out of 8?
Yep.
Okay. Track.
Should do well.
Yep.
Should do well.
Average game. Yeah.
Should do
He'll
well.
do
MCG.
well against them.
Should do well. Richmond concede points.
North Melbourne's going to win, so he'll do well against them.
Carlton should do well.
And then Hawthorn for a big game, and then Sydney Pro for a big game. The thing is Sportsnut, between the two players, I think Track's the more consistent one. I think Butters got the higher ceiling generally, probably goes for a 160. Yes, Track can do that, but he'll have games like this week where he scores 100 versus Petrarca, which I think is good for like a 120 plus every week. So if you want a 120 plus that can score big, go Track. But if you want someone who's, a bit 50-50, probably Butters there. I think Track's the better player, to be honest. If I had to pick between the two, I think Track's the better player.
Look at that. Petrarca averaging for the year 119.
Yeah.
Butters averaging 110. Kevin, they have helped me moving players through mid and defense and with Captain Loophole.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's what they would do, but it's better if they play.
How's it going, Globes? Rod. How's it going, Rod? Brad Crouch only averaged 98, but solid last 5 weeks. Picked them up 3 weeks back. Not bad.
Yep. Get him off the bye, you would be laughing, man.
Brad Crouch, what's his 3-round average? 114.
Yep.
Not bad. Good soys.
Doing well.
Causa. Track is playing 3 weeks in a row where his highest scores were this year. The 3 against North, Carlton, and Hawks. Could be cashing in really soon. Ross, who's on the podium for 3 worst AFL reporters / commentators?
All of them?
Nah, you got to pick 3 of the worst reporters / commentators.
Caro, Barrett,
and Kelly Underwood.
Kelly Underwood. Oh, Kelly Underwood.
The orange team. Get around the orange team.
She does.
Oh my God. That was so bad. She called the Gold Coast Suns the Giants in their game. So
she doesn't even know the players' names. Like, surely they've got a list of players' names in front of them. They can say, "Oh yeah, this is the player." She doesn't know what's going on.
Oh, apparently AFL to introduce mid-season trade period.
Really?
That's what Swizz has messaged us.
Fair enough.
And Footy Classified going with Stewie Dew to be sacked and Dimmer to coach Gold Coast next year.
Wow.
If Stewie Dew gets sacked and Dimmer Hardwick goes to the Gold Coast Suns, you will see an immediate improvement out of Richmond. You reckon? Out of the Suns, right?
Yep. I think so. I think Tuke Miller's going to be a must-have starter. They've got enough talent on that list with Gold Coast. It's just kind of maybe it is a rut type of thing where they've been under the same coach for so long. It's hard for them to put out games. First half of the season's great, but yeah, if that was if that's the case, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
Holy crap!
Mid-season trade period will be something interesting as well.
Will be huge.
I wonder how it will happen. That's kind of the main thing. Because all I can see it happening is good teams getting better. Like that's all I can see is going to happen, which is tough.
Unless the AFL changes the way the power dynamic between the clubs and the players. It will work if the clubs can make that decision. We're trading you to this team.
Yeah, but clubs aren't going to trade the guys who are performing. They're not going to say, Dylan Williams, see you later, are they?
No,
it's just not going to happen. So
no, but a North Melbourne can approach Port Adelaide and say, we like the look of this player. We want this player. We will offer you this to part with.
Yeah, but it will only be players in the VFL team that get traded. Like, it won't be anyone else. It will be like, hey, Adelaide, you've got this fringe ruckman in your VFL side that's doing well. We need a ruckman. Let's trade for him. Like that's what it will be. It won't be a best 22 player on. There will never be a case of a best 22 player being traded. It just won't happen. Because what team? What team's going to trade a best 22 player?
Well, it depends what you're getting back in return for him, and then you can substitute him for someone in the VFL.
Nah, it won't happen. It will be a VFL guy at best, or a fringe cover percentage player, but it will never be a number one pick or anything like that. Maybe like an Adelaide
injured.
Yeah, but maybe it would be a case of Matt Crouch can never see a game again at Adelaide. They'll be like, okay, we'll trade you off to this team for whatever pick. Maybe that will be a case of that.
That can still shape in the right team. That could be a big move. Global scored 2,500 this week with 6 players under 80 points.
Congrats.
That's really impressive. Sportsnet, wouldn't a mid-season trade period just disadvantage the poorer sides? Because people wouldn't want to go to it would only work in Sportsnet if the AFL changed the dynamic of the system where the players don't have all of the say to be like, I don't want to go there. It would have to be, we own you as a player. You are an asset to us, and we can trade you to whichever team. If it involves us sending you out to an interstate team, we'll pay you, almost like we'll give you some money to help you with the relocation, but ultimately you don't have the say of whether or not you choose. You can't refuse to be traded to West Coast. Essentially, that's the only way it would work.
Which I don't see it happening.
So how are they going to introduce it then?
Well, it will be a case of what I said. It will be a case of, okay, well, Joe Blow, you're like a fringe ruckman on this team. We need a ruckman. Let's make it happen. You're never going to play again for this team. Might be like a Matt Crouch leaving an Adelaide, being like, okay, your form's okay. The club don't like you. Whatever. Let's see you go.
So you're saying that it's going to be limited to VFL to state league players?
It potentially will be. It will be just. I reckon
that won't be the rule. That won't be the rule.
It won't be. But no team is going to trade a best 22 player during the mid-season trade period. No team will do it. They just won't.
The redeveloping teams might. I don't know. If it means getting future firsts, getting people's first-round draft picks that they're rebuilding.
The only way I can see it happening, right? The only way I can see it happening next year is if you know a player is going to leave at the end of the year. You say, okay, Taron Thomas next year is going to leave at the end of the season, right? His form has been fantastic throughout the year. He comes in scoring like 3 goals, 30 possessions every week. Yeah? Okay, Richmond, whoever's competing, you give us a few first-round picks. We'll give you Thomas because we know he's going. And then you can use him for the rest of the finals. Like, that would be the only way.
I can see it, though, helping a team like West Coast, who have all these aging players, all these players that might still have some currency, that you can trade them out mid-season and accumulate more draft picks that way to commit to a rebuild faster.
No. I just can't see teams getting rid of best 22 players. I just don't think it's going to happen.
If West Coast were to put up Nick Natanui for trade to a team that needs a ruckman.
But he's not fit. Are we saying a fit Nick Natanui or someone who can't even get on the practice field?
He's one of the most impactful players. He doesn't need high
He's not
minutes
fit.
on the ground.
No, he can't.
Plus, there's the sub. You can use him as a super sub. You can activate him in the last quarter, put him on, and he will change the dynamic of the game.
Bro, he can't play, Joe. He's not fit.
Like I said, for a quarter, he could be a super sub.
Mate, you're a super sub. He
Oh,
can't do it,
jeez, man. I appreciate
he
that.
He can't do it, Joe.
Look what the
And
NBA
he's
do.
not the right player to make this happen.
We need the AFL to adopt the NBA's philosophy with trading. Contracts mean nothing. Tell us a bit more about the NBA mid-season draft and why that's so successful.
See, what I was saying to Joe was a little bit different. Similar vein of thought, but a little bit different. Where what I was saying was, I think AFL players should be contracted to the AFL and then loaned out to the teams, not contracted to a particular team. That gives the AFL and the clubs enough power to say, you're still contracted to the AFL, but we're going to use you. And that gives the clubs that power to be able to move you around to any position. I think that's a good way to do it. You pay the relocation costs, you pay whatever you need to pay to be able to move a player around. Whatever appropriate fees probably would be. But yeah, that's the way that I would do it.
I mean, let me look up the NBA season trade. Caroline, mid-season draft would help Constable.
Yeah, probably.
He might get a game somewhere else.
But you know what? Constable VFL, so it's okay. That's my point. Constable might end up at West Coast, Joe. He'd be able to play a full game.
Oh, that is so funny.
Let's be honest, he'd still get subbed.
Caroline Wilson reports the shock of the year. Kenny will remain Port coach in the future. What a scoop by Caro. Causa. Well, Kevin Durant got traded this season and is best player on his team out of a 15-man roster for 2 younger guys and some firsts. But you can't trade 2 firsts in consecutive years in a row. Look at that. Kevin Durant, best player on his team, and he got traded out. What say you, Bigger J?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
You know who Kevin Durant is?
Yeah, I know. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry.
It just happened with Kevin Durant.
Yes, I know, but in the AFL, I don't see Carlton trading out Paddy Cripps for a couple of first rounders halfway through a season.
In fact, in the NBA, that roster is only 15 man.
Yeah, but they only have 5 on the field, so it doesn't matter.
On the court, I know.
Yeah.
So each one individual player is worth a lot more than in the AFL.
When you got 23. Will never happen.
Oh, AFL lottery would be so good.
Nah,
but you look at the NBA, because it's a small court with few people on there, each person, the demands on them are higher to play their role, to play better. Whereas on the footy field, big space, a lot more team.
This follows my concept of what I was saying with Taron Thomas, right? Where if you know he was going to leave at the end of the year, you sack him now, you trade him off now where he's got the most trade value because he can go to a team and do well for the rest of their season. That would be the only way I could see it happening if it was to happen for an established player. But your example of, someone's going to go ask Dylan Williams, you want to come to my team? That's not going to happen. No,
they're not going to ask him.
No, you know what I mean. They're not,
it's not up to him.
No one's going to ask Port Adelaide halfway through, let me just poach one of your best players. If the player wanted to leave, if you knew he was out the door eventually, but outside of that.
I reckon a team can still get someone from West Coast, and West Coast would be happy to get rid of them if it means getting more draft picks.
What, and be more than what they were worth at the end of the year?
Well, they're just getting rid of, or they're getting younger players. I don't know. Players that are fringe in the VFL, as you say, getting some fringe VFL player for Nick Nat is It's not too bad, I don't think.
Or Nick Nat.
Bro, I'm the one who's rating Nick Nat. You're not.
Yeah, I know, because he's injured and he can't play a full game of AFL.
Nick Nat.
I'm not rating Nick Nat.
Nick Nat
hasn't played all year.
I know. An unfit Nick Nat is better than 75% of the league.
Come on, Joe.
For a time, because the sub rule exists. There is no better player than Nick Nat as a sub.
No.
Nick Nat as the sub would be the greatest sub in the history of the AFL. There will be no better sub than Nick Nat.
No. I'm sorry, Joe. You've lost me.
You can't just say nah. He's the most impactful player per minute. He is.
Sorry.
Global. I'd trade out Parrish for a key for one of the King brothers.
Yeah, potentially. But
yeah, imagine mid-season, Essendon and St Kilda talk. Or Essendon and Gold Coast.
Parrish. Give me Parrish. Give me a King brother. Done.
Corey, like Shannon Hearn to a contending team for 2 potential young players for West Coast. Yeah. Or even a guy like Shuey. Correct. See, Causa and I are on the same wavelength. Get rid of some of these senior experienced players. Like, you don't think there's a team out there that would love to have the leadership of a Shannon Hearn in the back line?
Yeah, maybe.
You're really not giving us much here. You're really not giving us much.
Yeah, I just think it would have to get really worked out, to be honest. It's a really tough situation, and I just don't know. I know I'm not giving you much, but yeah, it's a rough one, Joe.
No, I'm excited for this. Sports Night. This would cause controversy if they did this and it failed and advantaged some better teams, but it has potential to be very good.
Yep.
What happens if they introduce it as a loan and not a full-blown trade? If they just loaned the player to the other team, get them experience, get them development.
I don't think there's any professional leagues that loans actually work where it's in between teams that are in the same league. I know the soccer does it for, like, if you're in the English league, for example, you can get loaned out to the Spanish league or German league because you're not playing your team every week. But I don't think it actually works the other way around. I don't see like an Arsenal loaning a player to Chelsea, for example. It just doesn't happen. There's a whole bunch of things with like allegiances and things like that. Oh, did he really shank it, or did like he just pass it to his own player? Like what's kind of happening with those things? So
yeah, but who are you loaning? If you're a team, who are you sending our way from your team to someone else? Not a best 22 player. You're sending
but still. But still, like your allegiance is to the team that you're on, right? So
no, not for when you're for someone else. You're not. You're playing for that team now.
But it puts the game into disrepute, Joe.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
You play your best. You play your best for the team that you are playing for.
But players won't play their best. That's what I'm saying.
If they don't play their best, they're jeopardizing their own stock.
No, but they'll just go back to the team that they were on for however many years they've got left.
No, but they might be. But the thing is, the reason why they're being loaned out in the first place. Say you got a young player in the VFL. Yep. There's open spot. West Coast are being absolutely decimated by injury, right?
Yep.
You got this player sitting in the VFL. You're like, you know what? Why don't I loan you to West Coast to play at the senior level because you can't crack into my team. We'll put you there. We'll send you to West Coast, have you be on loan over there. You can train, develop, play some senior footy over there. And hopefully you can show us enough that you can play for our team. If you start to willingly tank up against your team, you're not going to show you're sort of eating away. You're jeopardizing yourself and you're limiting your floor of what your contract could be, or et cetera, et cetera.
They won't think about it that way. They'll be like a case of, similar to what we're having at the moment with the AFL and the way the league's working. Oh, if this player tanks, maybe we lose this game, and maybe St Kilda, the team that I got loaned from, they're going to stay 5th on the ladder, so they're going to make finals. So I'll just be lazy and not go for this tackle and let the other team win. So my team goes down, and then St Kilda, the team that I came from, goes up.
Yeah, see, Superbirds reckons don't think they can play against the original team. It could be the case. Causa says Jacob Edwards is an example.
Jacob Edwards is getting delisted. This guy can't even get loaned to a VFL team, mate. That's it.
Kevin says NRL has a loan system and it works.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't looked into it, but I can just see, like, we're having trouble with draft tampering now. You know, like, tamper away, man.
Fair enough. So, yeah, very exciting. Cool. That's been 2 hours. I love it. I think that's the sweet spot for our streams.
I think so,
2 hours. It was 2 hours on Sunday, 2 hours today. Look at that. Rodney. Nick now plays 65% full game. Will only play 50% the last quarter when the game may be out of reach. He will bring the game back. He will bring it back. Even when it's out of reach.
If Nick Nat played the first quarter and then played the rest. Anyway, thanks for having me on. Well, not thanks for having me on. Thanks for coming on, guys. Coming and watching for the whole game, the whole stream. I'm sorry I missed out yesterday. It won't happen again. I'll try my best. And we'll see you on Thursday for the team sheets. Joe's team reveals coming out. Mine will happen as well. Let's make a good week, yeah? Stay tuned.
100%.
Subscribe to
Thanks, guys. Give us a like on this. Give us a like on the stream. Subscribe if you haven't. It was great fun talking to all you wonderful, wonderful people. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We will see you on the flip side.
Catch you, guys.